4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Dan Salem. I forgot to mute my television in the background. I'm live on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel here to talk the NFL and the dead zone that is upon us here as Week 12 approaches. I'm a little late to the party today, a few minutes. Apologies. Mainly because Facebook updated its Mentions app to now be a Creators app, and it took me a while to figure out how to go to the Livestream feature. And now you can't go horizontal. Everyone wants to watch a freaking horizontal video. No one wants to watch an up and down video, and yet you can't do a horizontal video. You can only do an up and down video. Okay, time to go live on Facebook, hopefully. This is the dead zone of NFL Week 12. I know it's so interesting watching me type. Done. All right, I'm going to have to hold this. Apologies. And I'm live. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm live. Dan Salem live. Over on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel, also on Facebook Mentions, now Facebook Creators. And I can't go like this. I want to flip my video like that, but the app is not designed to do that. And I understand it's Instagram. This is a little mini rant. But hell, video's supposed to be horizontal, not vertical. Come on, let us option to flip the damn phone. Okay, I'm here. I'm about to talk the NFL Week 12. This is the dead zone, people. I call it the dead zone because, frankly, if you lose, you're done. There are a ton of teams between 4 and 6 and 6 and 5. Yeah, Maddie, I know it. My New York Jets are one of them. The Dallas Cowboys are a prominent member of this club as well. And if they lose again, they're pretty much SOL. The reason I say that, they're going to have a huge hill to climb because some teams are going to win. And there's only 2 spots of the wild card. And there are a lot of teams competing for those spots. All right, let's tweet this sucker out. I'm going to hit tweet over at the Dan Salem on Twitter. And then I'm going to retweet it over on the BuzzChomp YouTube panel, BuzzChomp's Twitter. I didn't write a ton more this time, but as you all know, there are no more restrictions on characters. Or they doubled it, which feels like no restrictions. Same thing, right? Dead zone. Dak Prescott and his Cowboys are facing down the dead zone. Last week we talked about the climax of the NFL season, and I spotlighted the New Orleans Saints. Oh boy, did they live up to the hype and truly capture the NFL climax. They seized it. They won in overtime against the Redskins, who SOL, if they lose again, they're done. And breaking news, Miami is number 2 in the college football playoff rankings, which are just for fun because they don't mean a whole lot at this point in the season. Okay, so let me run down the teams in the dead zone. Hi, Maddie. We're talking about the NFL dead zone. There are a lot of teams in the dead zone. Our Jets are one of them. The Jets are in the dead zone, the Miami Dolphins, and the Buffalo Bills. I'm calling this the dead zone because it's kind of like the zombie apocalypse. You can fight your way out of it, or you can die. And most people are going to die. There will be a few survivors. They're going to make the playoffs. So the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets are all in this unpopular gray area. Not coincidentally, all 3 teams have a negative point differential. Rather surprisingly, the Jets have the best of the bunch. Because Buffalo has been sucking the last 3 weeks. Okay. Baltimore and Cincinnati are also in this zone of ineptitude. Baltimore's got a positive differential. I'd say they're the odds-on favorite to make the playoffs in the AFC, except they better win this weekend, and we'll see. Tennessee and Houston are also in this dead zone. 6 and 4, 4 and 6 respectively. Obviously, the Titans have a leg up on the rest of the AFC, but they're the Titans, and they aren't known for their success. The LA Chargers, the Oakland Raiders are both in this zone. Denver 3 and 7. They got to win every game the rest of the way. Not going to happen. They're done. Now, 8 and 8, and they make the playoffs in the AFC. Sorry, I bit my lip there. But 8 and 8, I mean, for my Jets, that means they got to go 4 and 2. For the Broncos, that means they got to go 5 and 1 to be 8 and 8. That is a tall order considering how the season has gone thus far. Therefore, there's lots of effects I can add to this Facebook's Creators app. I'm going to have to play around with this, but I really wish I could go like this and it wouldn't screw you up, but I can't. Okay. Technology. So that just to be clear, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in the AFC competing for 2 playoff spots. 9 teams. I've eliminated 3 teams because they're 3 and 7 or worse. Sorry, not sorry. Colts, Browns, and Broncos. I called it before the year. I didn't think Denver was going to be very good. I also thought Kansas City would take a step back. September threw me for a loop, made me question my instincts, but now the Broncos are 6 losses straight and not looking very good. And Kansas City's not going to finish as well as they did last season. Plain and simple. Not going to. I'm not afraid of them anymore as the Jets face them down in several weeks. So 9 teams for 2 spots in the AFC. This is the dead zone. Those 9 teams, they are not all going to win this weekend. Some of them play one another. Therefore, before we move on to the NFC, who is really like hand to the fire this weekend in the AFC? So, the LA Chargers play. You know what? I'm going to talk the NFC because some of these teams play one another. The Chargers and the Cowboys are both in the dead zone in different conferences, and they play one another. So that's a huge game for both teams. Go Chargers. Okay, so NFC. Cowboys and Redskins are both in the dead zone. The Lions and the Packers are in the dead zone. The Falcons and Buccaneers are in the dead zone. And the Seahawks and Cardinals are in the dead zone. I didn't mention the Panthers because at 7-3 they've kind of separated themselves from the pack thus far. Unless they hit a losing streak, but they've won 3 in a row, they are likely the first wild card in the NFC. So we had 9 teams for 2 wild card spots in the AFC. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams for 1 spot in the NFC because we're giving the Panthers the spot right now. I've eliminated the Giants and the Bears and the 49ers. I don't think that that's a stretch by any means. Therefore, all these 98 teams for 1 spot. So that's 9 teams in the AFC for 2 spots, 8 teams in the NFC for 1 spot. That's like a cluster F, if I'm trying not to swear, that you ever did see. Dead zone. Dead zone. Do any of these teams in the dead zone have a positive point differential? Because I love this stat. It speaks volumes to the NBA. It meant literally everything in the MLB baseball this year because every team that made the playoffs, I think maybe 1 team that made the playoffs, but they were in the wild card round, had a slightly negative differential. All the positive teams with differentials made the playoffs. So, in the AFC, Baltimore and Houston and the LA Chargers have a positive point differential. Houston barely. But Baltimore and the Chargers have a pretty significant one, plus 42, plus 25. So based solely on that stat, they're the 2 playoff teams. And guess what? I pegged both of them to make the playoffs before the year began. Totally coming up Dan. Totally. Oh, Maddie, are you having fun over there? I hear it. Sounds like you're having a blast. Totally coming up Dan. In the NFC, I will say the Cowboys because they're at 0. The Lions, the Falcons, and the Seahawks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at 0 or better for that 1 spot. This is a real toss-up. The fact that Atlanta won against Seattle is huge. The fact that Dallas lost was huge. All right, so this weekend, starting Thursday with 3 Thanksgiving games. Woo! I love Thanksgiving football. It is the best. I bet you're going to see me in a new Geico commercial on Thanksgiving Day. Woo! All right. So, Minnesota at Detroit. The Vikings don't need this one quite as much, but this is a make or break for the Lions because they need the win. If they lose, they're back down a significant peg, and I'm not sure that they can overcome it. The Chargers and Dallas are both in the dead zone, and they face off on Thanksgiving as well. We've got major ramifications. Washington against the Giants, too. These 3 home teams, they got to take care of business. Detroit, Dallas, and Washington They want to stay in the NFC playoff picture. Need a win on Thanksgiving Day. LA Chargers as well in the AFC. Coincidentally, I'm in a wins pool. I picked 3 teams to start the year. 2 of them play Thanksgiving. I'm not going to tell you which 2 because I'm not doing so hot. All right, Tampa Bay and Atlanta face off. 2 teams in the dead zone. A loss is going to be a killer for these guys. Who's yelling?
Yelling.
Cincinnati faces Cleveland. They should salvage another victory for themselves. Tennessee plays Indy. They better beat the Colts or they are screwed. Buffalo, Kansas City, 2 teams in the dead zone. Miami's in the dead zone against New England. They're going to die. Carolina and the Jets have a tall order, but they are at home off their bye, so if they're going to beat Carolina, this is the week. Seattle, San Francisco. Seattle better beat the 49ers. They barely beat them last time, so we'll see. Oakland facing Denver. The Broncos could basically knock the Raiders out of the playoffs if they can beat them on the road. Saints, Rams, that's a huge game of the week, definitely. Jacksonville, Arizona. Jacksonville's in full control. The Cardinals really need this game to stay in the playoff picture. I don't think they do it. I'll go through my picks in a second. Green Bay, Pittsburgh. Packers in the dead zone. They're going to die. And Houston at Baltimore. Houston's about to die because the Ravens are winning. Okay, so since I almost named picks, we'll give you Thursday's picks first. Hey, dear. Are you going to go a limbo? You can just lift it up for yourself, Mandy. All right. So, I don't think that the Lions can win on Thanksgiving Day at home because they're playing the Vikings, who are just on fire right now. I think it's going to be a close game, much closer than the Vikings' last game. But I think the Lions succumb and find themselves sitting on the outside of this playoff picture. I think the Chargers can take the Dallas Cowboys down. This is going to be sort of an upset, except not really based on how the Cowboys have been playing. Hi, Maddie. I think the Chargers get that game. The Giants at Redskins. The Giants have a little bit of momentum. This is their division rival. I mean, the Redskins are a much better team, but they're reeling. They have a ton of injuries. I'm hesitant to pick the Giants, but I really did think they were going to beat the Chiefs last week, and they proved me right. So I think they can knock the Redskins out of the playoffs with this victory. They might just do it. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. I like what the Buccaneers have done the last 2 weeks, but the Falcons are winning this one at home. No way they lose. Cincinnati's winning at home because the Browns stink. Tennessee at Indy. You know, this is like a trap game for the Titans, and I kind of think they might fall to the Colts because the Colts will be at home. It's a trap. It's a trap game. The Titans should win, but they're not going to. Buffalo at Kansas City. The Bills, they had a QB plan. They stuck by their QB plan. They shouldn't have. Now they have regrets. Todd and I wrote about this NFL Spin Zone. I believe it went up this afternoon. It might go up first thing tomorrow morning if it's not up yet. I don't think the Bills can do it. I think they lose another game. I think Kansas City gets back in control of a wild card berth, and the Bills see themselves falling farther and farther behind. Patriots destroy the Dolphins because the Patriots are at home and the Dolphins are in a tailspin. Carolina on the road at New York. Both teams off their bye, but the Jets are at home. I like the Jets to win a close game. Carolina has played a lot of close games. They don't have a ton of offensive weapons left anymore, and the Jets can get to Cam Newton. They can win this game. I like them in the upset. Philadelphia is going to destroy the Chicago Bears. Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle's going to win, but if they don't be surprised. The 49ers did get their first win, and they have a bye. Had a bye to prepare for what's his face, the Seahawks. Now, Garoppolo may play. That could be a big boost to them. If Bethard, he might be too hurt to play, so they might need Garoppolo in there. This is going to be a really close game. I wouldn't bet this game, but I'd pick the Seahawks if I was picking. I think Oakland takes care of business at home against Denver. Denver's season is over. New Orleans at LA. The Rams need a bounce back game. I don't know. They're at home, and they do have a pretty good defense. I think that they'll beat the Saints. The Saints' win streak has to end eventually. Sorry, Maddie. I'll feed you in a couple of minutes. I'm almost finished. I swear. I'm picking the LA Rams at home over the Saints, even though the Saints are on fire. Jacksonville's going to beat the Cardinals because the Cardinals just can't stop anybody. Green Bay, Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh's going to win. Green Bay, your season is about to end. And Houston will fall to Baltimore on Monday night. The Ravens keep themselves in the picture. Houston falls out of the picture. So that means this is like elimination weekend. This is kind of cool. We kind of finally know who the good teams are. And these bad teams, some of the ones that lose, they'll be done. That's fun. All right, so look around the league. Because a lot of these teams, like injuries, quarterbacks, just been surprising. Oh, the Raiders just fired their defensive coordinator. Well, that makes me question how they'll do against Denver, but maybe that's a boost to their defense and not what do you call it? A negative. It's like a boost. I don't know. I still like Oakland at home. Seahawks waived Dwight Freeney after 4 games. Yeah, he's going to probably retire. Forced retirement, unfortunately. Oh, Jerry Jones isn't going to sue. That's good because Roger Goodell did what he was brought there to do. He like tripled the NFL's income. What else is his job? That's about it. That's about it. He did his job real well. Pay the man. Keep him hired. The Super Bowl guarantee for the Eagles. That's dangerous territory. Broncos will start Lynch at QB on Sunday. Paxton Lynch. Yeah, because Brock Osweiler's not getting it done. So we got a new quarterback for the Broncos against the Raiders, who will have a new defensive coordinator. This is going to be open season on Paxton Lynch. You're going to get hurt, dude. Sorry. Not sorry. I want to talk the Buffalo Bills for a second because this is like a weird situation. And some people just can't understand how Buffalo, what the heck's going on here, could dump their quarterback like that. My feeling is that they had a plan at the beginning of the year that around week 11, at the latest, they would put their rookie in. That they wanted to see what he could do. That they weren't going to stick with Tyrod Taylor for whatever reason, even though I think he's an excellent quarterback. I would be happy to have him quarterbacking my New York Jets. He just makes plays with his feet. He's a good player. He doesn't make a lot of turnovers, which is critical. Like ball control and being able to make plays with your feet. I don't know. I don't know why Buffalo doesn't like him. I like him. That's just me. The Jets have had to face him multiple times, and he's always dangerous. Therefore, they brought him back, but basically just for the 1 year because they didn't have anybody else. They don't want him long term. So I kind of think that he may have known even before the year, like at some point the switch was going to happen. The whole team probably did. No one was upset about it. No one spoke out about it. I think that they decided they were going to do this. The problem is, at that point, they had traded away some of their star players, and expectations were rather low. People were saying they were going to tank. Buffalo was aiming for a high draft pick and potentially rebuilding. Then they got off to a hot start. They were 5-4. I believe they're now 5-5. You're a winning team leading the pack towards the playoffs. Now I get it. You make the first round of the playoffs, you get eliminated. That's not as good as getting a high draft pick and really building for the future. However, the Buffalo Bills have not made the playoffs this millennium. They haven't made it since the 90s. They made 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s, and then they haven't made the playoffs since the turn of the new millennium. That's a really long time. There are only 1 or 2 other teams that have had a longer playoff drought than the Bills. Therefore, making the playoffs means an awful lot to that football team. It means an awful lot to those fans. They have a lot of draft capital. Buffalo does. They can still do what they wanted to do. And perfectly honest, they had to know this guy wasn't going to have a huge success in the first game. You see it in practice. Now, he had a terribly awful game, worse than anyone would have imagined. But was he really ready to go in there? I don't know. I mean, yes, at some point he's got to play. But as a Jets fan, they have yet to start Christian Hackenberg, their second-round quarterback. And it's rather telling. They don't think he's ready. They think he'd probably pull a Nate Peterman. And they haven't played him. They have a veteran who's doing rather well, and they are sticking by him. That's a smart decision for the overall growth of the team. The Bills went the opposite way and stuck by their plans they made in August. While I commend you for sticking by a plan, I must poo-poo you for ignoring the truth of the present day. The past is not alive in the present. The present is the present. The present is not the past. It's merely a reflection of what became of it. Lots of things changed, basically. Buffalo did not choose to change their plans. Now they probably regret the decision. Or they know what Peterman had, but they threw a loss onto the column that probably could have been a win. I mean, the LA Chargers aren't great. They're not 54-7 great. Like, it was unbelievable. They blew them out. That was a lost game that Buffalo desperately needed in a close playoff race because now they're in the dead zone instead of in control. All right, guys. My daughter needs me, and we are heading into Thanksgiving, so I'm going to cut this a little short. Stay tuned with the headlines. We got 3 great Thanksgiving Day games, a slew of games on Sunday, and 1 Monday nighter. I'll be back next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll figure out this new Creators app and get it rolling properly. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Dan Salem at the Dan Salem on Facebook, at the Dan Salem on Twitter, over on BuzzChomp's YouTube channel, also Pillow Talk TV on BuzzChomp. Great, great comedy all year long. All right, guys. Peace and good night. Woo! Ooh, I'm still live on